Oh, welcome to the channel, and this is my review of Agatha All Along, episode number 7. So this is the latest episode that has just dropped. That means we got 2 episodes left, 8 and 9, and I think they're coming next week together. I'm not 100% sure of that, but coming to um, like wrap up the season on Halloween, because next Thursday, when the episodes drop, is Halloween. So, kind of makes sense. Um, so, what about this episode? Well, it's actually a good episode. And last week I said I liked the episode 6 because it talked a lot about Billy and stuff like that. This episode I think I liked even more. Um, It's all about the older lady, the tarot card reader. We saw her last week that she actually did a reading for the teen, as she calls him, who is really Billy Maximoff, the only male character in this. Um, but yeah, it's a lot about her, and this is her trial. And yeah, it's confusing because it jumps back and forth a lot, and it um, there's like you'll see what something happens in the episode, and they actually refer to something that will happen later in the episode as if it has already occurred. So time is very much convoluted or mixed up in this episode. But I thought it was still a good episode. Uh, the one comment, the episodes usually look pretty good, except for they're dark. The tone is dark. The lighting is dark, and it sometimes makes some of the stuff difficult to see. But anyways, um, yeah. So all in all, this is not a bad episode. You do see progression towards the end. The ultimate goal of completing all the trials on the Witch's Road progresses. And yeah, we learn some other stuff. So, anyways, episode begins with I guess her name is Lilith. I didn't really remember that until I just saw it written here when I was looking for the screenshot of the witches. Um, but she's a witch that joined because she is kind of lost. Anyways, the episode starts with her falling through space, and you don't see her reaching the bottom. It's just black, and she's falling through a black background. And then it jumps to Agatha and Billy on the trail, and they're kind of back and forth, and Agatha still proves that she's a asshole just by some of the dialogue, but they see a castle ahead. So they continue on, um, and they go into the castle, and suddenly every building they've entered on the road, they switch outfits to match the trial. So in this case, um, Agatha is the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz, and they're all Disney witches. And Billy, who I didn't think they could make more gay, is what was the name of the movie? Magnificent I don't know. It had Angela Jolie playing an evil witch, so it's Maleficence or something like that. So he's wearing her costume with the makeup, and he's kind of preems about a bit. But they're in a castle. So they see a deck of tarot cards, and when Billy picks it up, the little egg timer flips over and starts the trial. So he thinks because he seems to think he knows a bit about tarot card reading, starts giving um, starts reading for Agatha. Not doing a very good job of it, and every time he puts a card down on this special table, a sword falls out of the ceiling, and they have to make sure it doesn't fall on them. So Agatha gets pissed off, grabs the deck, and just starts slamming the cards down on the table, which makes the swords drop quicker and quicker. And we then start jumping back and forth between Lilith character, the older witch. You see her, and she's talking to, I guess, the witch that taught her how to do tarots. And she's not sure what's going on and where she is. And she's also, in this episode, she jumps back and forth again with the Black Witch because they had been tossed aside by Billy on a previous episode and sunk into the swamp, which dumps them into like underground tunnels. And again, Lilith will say something, and then I don't know what her character's name is, the Black Witch. Sorry. Will say, yeah, so it's Billy Maximoff threw us off the road, the Red Witch's kid, and she will say, snap at her and say, how did you know that? And, well, you told me. So that's where the time is going back and forth, in that they keep bringing up, or the other witch, the Black Witch, brings up stuff that will actually happen in the episode later on, but hasn't. So uh, she says that it's going. You told me that it's going to be a tarot trial, and you told me that it's Billy Maximoff, and this happens a couple times that they go back and forth. This is where I say it gets confusing. They go between Lilith going to her teacher, Lilith appearing as a young girl, and then herself. And the big thing for her is she keeps trying to figure out what she's done wrong, because that's what she believes she has to do to pass the trial. She has to correct it. So, anyways, um, again, Agatha and Billy are uh, not doing too well with their reading, and at one point, Billy says, I wish Lilith was here." Um, a door opens, and Lilith and the Black Witch fall through, and uh, Lilith is because Wicked Witch of the West is how Agatha's dressed, and Lilith is actually dressed by the whatever the other good witch was in the Oz. It's been so long since I've seen that. And then the Black Witch, she's dressed up as the witch that produces a poison apple from Snow White. So again, all Disney properties. I guess you can expect that to happen. At this point, Lilith is pissed off at the boy, but the Black Witch says, yeah, actually, you're past that now, because again, they're skipping back and forth sort of in time. Lilith has said that people think time's linear, but it's not, and yada yada. So great, another thing to like Marvel and their multiverse. Um, and anyways, they start trying to figure stuff out, and then again, Lilith is skipping back and forth, and she skips back and forth through all the previous episodes that we've seen. So they're back to the original sort of house that they go in, where the water crack or glass cracks, and the squeaky voice switch dies, and they're back to the 70s one where the Asian witch dies, and um, anyways, through the episode, people keep saying, "Where's Rio?" which is Audrey Plaza's character, and Agatha won't answer. But Lilith eventually figures out that she is Death, the actual, one with the big. Now she doesn't have it in the show, but the one with the big scythe and appears to people just before they die. Um, but yeah, so again, back and forth. Um, a lot of, again, very confusing. You have to kind of follow close to see where she is and pick up stuff that where she is happens to be in one of the previous episodes. So that happens. But ultimately, uh, when Lilith appears kind of for the last time. She said when they were down the tunnels that she finally figured out what she did wrong, and she goes up and says to Billy that she has to do his reading. So the ceiling with all the swords in it is coming down. So she starts doing Billy's reading, and it's quite accurate. The things that she brings up about him are 100% true. But doing his reading doesn't stop the swords, which is what everybody says. Why aren't the swords stopping? And then she realizes that it's her trial. She has to do the reading for herself. So she starts doing the reading and pulling out cards regarding herself. And there's one card that she pulls about the tower. She gets that from a previous episode. And but the tower card is upside down, so she puts it in the table that she's flopping the cards down, have sort of spaces for the cards, and she gets them all in there. And the last card is death, where she tells everybody that Rio is actually the epitome of death, and that stops the swords from coming down. And in an Iron Maiden that's in the corner, which is a big torture device, it opens up and there's a doorway out. So kind of around that time, um, they hear the Salem 7 coming, and Lilith tells everybody they need to escape. So everybody's leaving, and Lilith is kind of escorting them out. And she tells Agatha, when she calls you a coward, hit the dirt or hit the deck, which I guess we'll see what that means in another episode. Something to do with Audrey Plaza's character and death, who apparently, I think early in the show, said that she was, once Agatha gets her powers, that um, she's going to come after Agatha at that point. Then she had found earlier um, Billy's book that he had all his information written down in that he had lost. So she gives that to him, and her and the Black Witch are kind of friends now. And she basically, the Black Witch says, "I can't leave without you," and it's like, "Don't worry, you got to go. You're in charge now," kind of thing. And she shuts the door to the Iron Maiden. So now it's her facing off against the Salem 7. And they come into the room where they're doing the Tarrot reading, and Lilith is kind of saying, "Yeah, you shouldn't have come here." But they come in as their animal forms and then appear as the witches, which you can see here on the this screen. And Lilith goes to that card that was upside down and flips it, and the room reverses. So now up is down and down is up. She grabs onto this round table, and all the witches start dropping or floating up towards the ceiling or dropping towards the ceiling, one or the other. And they all get impaled on the all the swords that are still up in the ceiling. And so Lilith basically sacrifices herself to protect the others, and she wipes out the Salem 7, which says that they are not the big enemies in this series, which is probably going to be Rio, death. But Lilith is holding onto the table, so she's not dropping towards the swords, but eventually she knows that that's kind of um, her destiny, so she lets go, and you see her falling towards the ceiling, but you don't see her getting impaled. And then at that point, that's the end of the episode. So yeah, that's it. Like I said, it's a decent enough episode. Um, they do skip back and forth from the trial to the underground caverns for the two witches that were separated by Billy, and then she keeps jumping back to her old teacher and asking her old teacher what's going on and how she stops this jumping and all this stuff, because she apparently um, experienced this jumping back and forth in time when she was a younger girl, and she was able to suppress it, but now it's happening again, and she thinks the reason for that is that she's going to die, which ultimately is, I believe, why she lets go of the table to fall. But yeah, it's good episode for Lilith. She does a good job with her part. She actually has something to do. Um, Most of the witches don't really have much to do in any of the other episodes. It's all about Billy and Agatha, but she has more to do and does a good job of it. And yeah, it's actually I hate to say it, but it's actually a decent enough episode. So there you have it. That's episode 7. Um, each episode's a line out of the Witches Road song that they refer to. I don't really care about that, but it does show um, Lilith actually returning to being a witch and saying that she loves being a witch, which she was reluctant to admit before. And yeah, um, I thought it was okay. So, 2 more episodes to go. Uh, and after a really slow start to this series, the last 2 episodes have been reasonably good, and this one is better than the last. So, if the last 2 episodes are better than this one, at the very least, we might get a decent ending to the series. But I think part of the reason I didn't like this is I don't like shows about witchcraft because it's all just you can write anything because there's no laws that apply to physics or anything else. You just whatever the hell, I need this to happen, so I'll write that into the story. But anyways, that's it for episode 7. Interesting, worth watching, and that's it. Thanks.